This week on AKC Live, we'll see how technology helps you and your dog in more ways than one. Plus, what happened in Houston doesn't stay in Houston, and who is this month's top dog? All this and more on AKC Live. Welcome back to AKC Live, bringing you the latest dog news and entertainment from the American Kennel Club. I'm Sam Ryan, and my co-host today is this 4-year-old, 150-pound Bernese mountain dog, Thor. Hi, Thor. Thor's happy to join us today, right? He's very comfortable right now. Well, what an event. The Houston World Series of Dog Shows was last week in Texas. It's a 5-day-long series of events where many of the nation's best dogs competed for top honors. And Ben Green has this story.
What has 5 days, 4 legs, and thousands of things to do? Here's a hint.
Dog show.
It's the Houston World Series of Dog Shows, where people don't just go, they go all out.
We come every year, sometimes twice.
Everything's here. There's so many great vendors here.
Selling good old-fashioned barbecue and dog accessories galore.
T-shirts, dog outfits. This one I actually had custom made from last year. The Dachshund Rescue does it. A lady makes them and donates all the proceeds to it. And she measured her last year here at the show, and then she made it and mailed it to me.
I went to one booth and I spin a wheel and I got a winner and I got to pick what I wanted, and it was a mini yo-yo.
I really did like how you could meet the dogs. I appreciate that a lot because I like to pet dogs a lot.
Yes, so many kisses.
The art show was definitely neat, seeing all the other students' artwork. The exhibitions with the frisbee and the musical and stuff, that was all really cool too.
They do have the agility tent where every dog gets to try it out, so that's fun.
And let's not forget, this is a dog show.
I was watching Best in Show yesterday, and it was one of the finest Best in Show lineups I've seen in a long, long time.
I have seen some Shih Tzus, some French Bulldogs, and a couple of Pomeranians.
Well, we've seen a lot of dogs. We've seen Dachshunds, which I really like, Shelties.
A giant Schnauzer. Pugs. Pugs. Yes, pugs. Golden Retrievers. Poodles.
So get yourself looking glamorous and get yourself and your kids, heck, the whole family, to the best place known to dog.
The Dog World Series. Yeah.
The big winners at the shows were Wilma, the boxer, who won Best in Show on Thursday and Saturday. Grant, the black Cocker Spaniel, captured Best in Show on Friday. And then it was Elsa, the Old English Sheepdog, who won Best in Show on Sunday. There she is. Congratulations to all of them. Well, just south of Houston in Galveston, Texas, the 6th annual Surf Dog competition was taking place. Each of the canine entrants competed in a time challenge that tested their riding ability. The winner in the small dog category was Spunky the Chihuahua, while Izzy won the large dog category and was crowned the Kahuna Top Dog. Ohana Surf and Skate hosted the event to benefit the Galveston Island Humane Society, which has played a significant role in assisting displaced animals after Hurricane Harvey. So congratulations to the winners there. Looks like a lot of fun was had by all. Well, this week's show is about technology that helps your dog. And this first story has the happy ending that every story should have. We're joined by the Grigorchuk family in Freeland, Michigan, with their dog, Maggie. Now, Maggie was missing for 19 months. Jillian, first of all, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Along with 3 of your daughters, can you tell us what happened when Maggie went missing?
We had Maggie for about 2.5 years, and we have a big yard and an electric fence. And we had taken my children to soccer practice, and my mother had let her outside to go to the bathroom, and she didn't want to come back in, and had sent me a message that Maggie was in the yard, which was not, uncommon, and that I was going to be home in about 20 minutes. And when we got home from soccer practice, Maggie was gone.
Well, we have video of the reunion, so let's take a look at this. What a happy moment, Jillian. You know, 19 months is a very long time. It looked like there was a little bit of hesitation at first. So what was that reunion like?
It was very surreal. You know, we had just been at home in the afternoon, and I got a phone call that she was, you know, was back. And so Maggie's always been a little, had some stranger shyness, so I wasn't sure how she was going to react. And I wanted, you know, ultimately the safety of my children was my utmost concern. But as you can see in the video, she remembered us pretty quickly. And so we were super excited to bring her home.
You said you got a call that Maggie had been found, that Maggie was back. How were you certain that that was Maggie?
We were very excited. You know, after I got the phone call, and I was pretty sure that it was her because they had all of our correct information from the microchip. The kids, you know, they screamed and cheered, and then to bring her home, she remembered everything right away and fit right back into the family.
So how long did it really take her to get reacquainted with the family and the girls to get reacquainted with her?
Almost immediately. I mean, that day when we brought her home, she, you know, she was always had her tendencies. She would sleep in a kennel at night, and she remembered everything right away. And you know, the initial meeting of us just contained a few of our family members, but she remembered quite readily that the other ones, like my husband and my mother, she remembered everyone, even our neighbor children.
So 19 months is a long time. I know we saw some hesitation there. Were you coached as to how to interact with her once the reunion was set?
Well, you know, I just had known how Maggie had been in the past, and I didn't want to scare her either. And I saw when she came in how hesitant she was. And so I just wanted to let her warm up to us, you know, before we, as you know, children can be kind of uninhibited in situations like that. And so I did kind of coach them just to tell them to be calm and quiet so that we didn't scare her.
Well, a happy ending for all of you. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. So it seems that the hero of that story was the Good Samaritan and a microchip. I'm joined now by Tom Sharp, the president and CEO of AKC Reunite, to talk about this unsung hero. So exactly, Tom, what is a microchip and how does it work?
Well, a microchip is a tiny device about the size of a grain of rice, and here's one right here that Thor's going to look at with me. He's our helper dog today. So it's just a small device that goes between the shoulder blades of a dog or a cat, and it holds a unique.
So go right here.
Right there. Right there. Okay. And it's implanted by your veterinarian, and it holds a unique number that is read by a scanner like this. So you read the microchip, and it gives you a number. And then that number needs to be recorded in a recovery service like AKC Reunite, so that if a dog like Maggie or Thor or a cat is found and scanned, the microchip is scanned, they call our 24/7, 365-day-a-year recovery service, and they say, we have such and such a microchip, and then we call the Thor's owner or Maggie's owner and say, your pet is down at the shelter or at the vet's office, and then you go get your dog back.
I know you said it's not painful, it's like a vaccination.
It's like a vaccination, yeah. So it's one quick stick, and then you're done, and most pets don't even flinch.
When is the right time to have your dog or pet microchipped? Is there a right time? Can you wait till they're older, later in life as well? You
can. Generally, for dogs, we would recommend between 3 and 6 months of age. You don't want to wait too long, because as puppies start to especially run around and explore their territory, you don't want to wait so long that the dog gets out and runs away, and then it wasn't microchipped and you've waited too long. There's no minimum age, so just consult with your veterinarian, and they'll usually recommend it at one of the puppy well visits.
So once they're microchipped, do you just forget about it, or do you have that microchip checked then over time?
So
is there maintenance?
A very important thing is you need to make sure that the microchip is registered. So having the microchip in the pet is the first step. The second step is you have to get that information registered in a database, because it's just a number. The number has to be tied to your information to be worth anything. And then you need to keep that information up to date. So at Reunite, we do not charge any annual fees, and we do send out annual reminders to say, hey, by the way, here's Thor's microchip. Is all of your information up to date? And you can go update it at any time at no charge. It is a very common and good practice for veterinarians to check the chip at every visit. So as you go in for an annual checkup with your pet, have them just check the microchip to make sure that it's where it's supposed to be and
Make sure
is
it's
working
readable
properly.
too,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Now, what about, like, I know you talked about, registration and whatnot, but what about, does the microchip ever expire?
No, they should last the lifetime of the pet. Microchips, they typically last 20 years or more.
That's awesome. That's
Yep.
good to know.
Yep.
Very important thing to protect our dogs and make sure. We saw
Absolutely.
the reunion video just before with
Right.
Jillian and her family.
Yes.
And thanks in part to the microchip. Right, Thor? Yeah? Thank you, Tom. Thanks so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
here. Well, time now to learn about Fast Cat and how one special dog uses technology to help her compete, thrive, and overcome the odds. Let's take a look.
Ladies and gents, start your engines. They're running the Fast Cat.
The Fast Cat is basically a timed 100-yard event. They run the 100 yards and they are ranked nationally by their time, by their breed, and they also accumulate points towards a title. So their speed determines the number of points that they accumulate on each run.
But you don't have to be quick to run the track.
The Fast Cat is unique in that any dog can compete in it that has an AKC number.
So of course, herding and working dogs love it.
This is Athena. She is a Belgian Malinois and is around 4 years old. Athena's favorite event is probably this lure coursing. This is what she lives for, is to chase this bunny.
But even this little lady has a need for speed.
This is our dog, Scruffy, aka Truffles. Ever since she was a puppy, she liked being out with her other dogs and everything else. We first made her a little wheelchair out of PVC pipes and rollerblade wheels until we got a new one that worked better for her. She always was toy-driven, so we figured if we could get her to chase a toy or chase a Frisbee, she would do fine with chasing a bag, which she thinks is a toy running down a line. Natural giving instinct, little terrier mix she's got, she's born to run.
And like Scruffy, we bet your dog will love the Fast Cat.
And you see it in the backyard with your own dog when they're chasing the squirrel, chasing the neighbor's cat. They all want to chase something and catch it, and that's what the Fast Cat's all about for them. I like to say conformation is for us, the competitors, but lure coursing is for the dogs, because they're the ones that are really getting the complete joy out of it.
Joining us right now, the managing editor of the AKC Gazette, Bud Bacone. Bud, first of all, thank you for joining us. Welcome. AKC's Renaissance man. I see you have a new BFF today.
Yeah, you can't beat a Bernese Mountain Dog for shedding and slobbering. I just love it. Came all the way here just for that.
Well, Thor's loving it right now. We've seen you in the doghouse segments here on AKC TV as well. What is the series about?
Well, it's an extension of what I do at the AKC on a regular basis, which is showing people around our incredible collection of cool dog stuff. I mean, we have a world-class art collection, of course, paintings and sculptures, but we also have real curiosities, a dog skeleton, the world's greatest collection of dog-headed walking sticks and odd stuff like that, all sorts of dog ephemera, as we call it. And when people come up to visit the offices, they'll sometimes ask me to take them around and just show off the stuff to them.
Thor wants a tour.
Thor, come on. But, so that's when we were sitting around trying to come up with ideas for AKC TV and what people might like, they said, well, what about that? You know, we have all this cool stuff. And I said, that's a great idea. So the doghouse segments on AKC TV are just an extension of what I do on a regular basis when visitors come. The stuff that we have has been donated to us from our dog clubs and from individual collectors. And they've given it to us with the idea that we would share them with the world, that we would be able to show them to everybody. So doing it a few people at a time, touring them around the office is great, but it doesn't beat the reach that you can get from showing people this really neat stuff.
Look at him.
Oh, come on.
Look at him.
Thor, come on. This is my big break on AKC TV.
But I have to say that right after AKC Live that we are going to release the newest episode of In the Doghouse. And this episode is a painting of Alexander. We have a sneak peek of it right now.
Yes, that's a painting from the studio of Sir Edwin Landseer, one of the great dog painters of all time from Victorian England. And it commemorates the famous story from ancient history when Alexander the Great met Diogenes, the famous philosopher.
Okay.
And in that segment, I think if they didn't cut out all the boring stuff, I'll be telling them all about how Landseer cast this famous meeting with dogs. He used dogs to tell the story of this very famous story from antiquity involving Alexander the Great and one of the great Greek philosophers. It's not as dull as it sounds, I promise
Well, let's
you.
take a quick peek, sneak peek at it, okay?
The picture really is a bit of a joke because the whole thing is based on the word cynic. Diogenes was the head of the Cynic school of philosophy. Cynic comes from the word kainos, which means dog in Greek. His neighbors started calling him the dog because he lived like a dog in the street. He thought dogs were noble and lived life the right way. They had no possessions, they had no pride.
So if you think about painting, part of our historical collection of technology, it's man using tools to express an idea or a story. So really painting is one of our first forms of technology. Do you agree with that?
Oh, well, obviously, it's the first form of communication technology, certainly. We were communicating with pictures on cave walls maybe 40,000 years ago, and we didn't invent the alphabet until 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. So long, long before we were speaking and writing to one another in coherent sentences, we were communicating with pictures. It's not only the oldest form of communications technology, it's still the most powerful. You can say a lot more with a picture than you can with words. And pictures get into your subconscious, they get into your unconscious, they get into your dreams. We dream in pictures. We dream, since the invention of movies, we dream like movies. We have cross-cutting and close-ups and long shots and so on. All that film vocabulary has seeped into our subconscious. Even if we're not film people and we have no training in film, our subconscious directs a movie every time we dream. That's how powerful pictures are. And it all began with cave painting, and of course, by the time Landseer comes along, it's the highest of the art forms, and a very potent way of telling a story.
Neat way to think about it as far as directing and editing in your dreams. And now we're going to see some of your artistic works here. We're looking at some of the caricatures that you've made.
Oh, yes.
You're a bit of a personality of the AKC. How did you learn to do this?
Well, I think I started the way every cartoonist started, which is drawing nasty pictures of your teacher in the back of the notebook instead of paying attention.
Oh, we never did that, right?
No, and then it was always, Mr. Bacone, perhaps you'd like to share that with the rest of the class. Oh, no, sister, you really don't want to see this. And, sure enough, it's a picture of sister with an axe in her head, and that's how I think most cartoonists do start that way. Most of the best cartoonists I ever met have very little formal training, if any. They began by copying their favorite comic books, or these days the kids I know love to copy anime, the Japanese anime. They copy it assiduously until they find a style of their own. And that's what I did. I had my own art heroes when I was a kid. Bill Gallo. I don't know if you remember Bill Gallo in the New York Daily News, the great sports cartoonist. He was one of my great heroes. I always went to the Bill Gallo cartoon in the paper every morning, first thing. In those days, it was Reggie Jackson and George Steinbrenner and Muhammad Ali, these great personalities that he would caricature so well. And I got the chance to do that myself when I went to work for Baseball America magazine, and I was there for 10 years, and I was their house caricaturist. And I'm not saying I'm not putting myself on the level of Bill Gallo, but in my own way, I was living the dream. I actually got to do what Bill Gallo did, and that was great fun. And another one of my great heroes was Al Hirschfeld, the famous caricaturist from the theater. And he caricatured all of the great theatrical personalities of his time. And sure enough, after Baseball America, I went to work at the Theater Week magazine, and I got to live the dream again. I got to be the person who did the funny caricatures of the theater people. So those were my two heroes, and I actually got to do what those guys did when I grew up.
So plenty of experience drawing caricatures of people, but do you prefer people or dogs?
Well, people come naturally to me, as I was telling you. I've been doing it since I was a very little boy, and right now I'm looking at your face and I'm saying, I could see, I see how it's happening.
Okay.
And, but the dogs are a challenge. I didn't come to canine anatomy until I was a professional caricaturist, you know. So I'm still teaching myself canine anatomy. And people spend their whole life studying canine anatomy. We run stories about it in the AKC Gazette all the time. And so
How could you forget that face?
Right. But the trick for me is that I have to cartoon the breed as well as cartooning the people so that the thing meshes. So it's not a perfectly realistic rendition of a dog standing next to an obvious cartoon character person. So that makes it a little more difficult. I'm trying to find that meeting where I can caricature the dog but still retain a lot of the breed characteristics. Because these dog people that I draw now take these dogs very, very seriously. It's their life's work. And I can have all the fun I want drawing them, the big nose, the big ears, whatever, but don't mess with the dogs.
Right.
Don't put me next to a bad specimen of my breed. You know, that's what they don't like. They take their breeds very seriously, but they don't take themselves too seriously. They can laugh at themselves. And I think that's the takeaway from these drawings that we saw here, is that, you know, take your work seriously always, but never take yourself too seriously.
In the Doghouse with Bud Bacone on AKC TV. Bud Bacone, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I got one more thing for you.
Let's see.
You. Ha ha ha! You didn't think I would escape that, did you?
There we go. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Bud. Oh, and look, Thor.
Thor, God bless
ready
you.
For his close-up.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bud. That's awesome. Right?
Whoa!
It's time for our fun fact. Dogs have a built-in technology. Did you know that dogs have a part of them called the tapetum lucidum, allowing for night vision? So who needs a flashlight when you're a dog? What does it take to be the top dog? AKC Top Dog rankings are calculated every month and at the end of the year, so the race for the #1 dog is determined there. You can find out more when you go to akc.tv and search for Road to Best in Show. And now for the top 10 confirmation dog rankings of this month, starting with number 10 is Louie, an American Staffordshire Terrier from Westfield, Massachusetts. Number 9 from Rialto, California, a Wire Fox Terrier named King. Number 8 from Schwenksville, Pennsylvania, a Border Collie named Slick. Number 7 from East Berlin, Pennsylvania, a Pekingese named Bernie. The number 6 dog from Flower Mound, Texas, a boxer named Wilma. Number 5, an Akita named Nick from Gilroy, California. As for number 4, this hails from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a pug who goes by the name of Biggie. Number 3 dog in the country is Princeton, a French bulldog from Santa Barbara, California. The number 2 dog in the country from Colorado Springs is the Old English sheepdog, Elsa. We saw her earlier in the show. And the number 1 dog this month, a black cocker spaniel from Knoxville, Tennessee, called Grant. I'm Sam Ryan. Thanks for joining me today, and thank you for watching AKC Live. And thank you to our co-host today, Thor. You did a great job. You did a great job, buddy. Family Dog Magazine held their annual photo contest, and you can catch who the winners are. They're featured in the Family Dog July-August 2018 issue. That is the outdoors issue. And we leave you with a look at some of the hundreds of gorgeous photos submitted to Family Dog for our Good Dog Moment of the Week. And we thank the technology of the camera that has evolved through the many generations that allows for so many people to submit these beautiful photographs of what and who they love.
Furniture provided by the dog-friendly Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. Comfort for all.